Hello and welcome back to Northwestern Models TV, and today we're going to be assembling the Midland region water column from Skytrex. So let's get started. So as with any of the kits that we have, first things first obviously is to get inside, and this is packed in the usual Skytrex manner of a simple plastic bag. Now we've got a few components to this that we need to make sure we've got all of them there. So we've obviously got what looks like the main column on its base. There's a little grid piece there made of cast resin. We've got some chain, we've got the water column bag itself. There's a piece of brass wire, and I'm not sure if that's waste material or not, that just happens to be in the bag. So the column should make up as on the description which comes in the packet. So we've got the two pictures there which show the front and the back side of it, so we should be able to see that. And then on the other side we've got the useful guidelines on how to assemble it, and obviously it's too small to see on the camera, but it is all there. So I will follow that guide as we go along, and hopefully it should go together quite easily. Now the first thing I'm actually going to do is to clean up all the components, get rid of the excess flash off them, because it just makes it easier to do whilst they're in separate components, so that way we're not going to knock anything off. So I'll get on and get cleaned all the bits up. Right, well I've now got all the component parts fitted together, and remember that little selection of white metal parts that's all sorted together, I wasn't sure what it was for. There was actually a piece in there which is actually a little handle which will go on the back down here, which actually actuates the column. Obviously it's just going to be fixed in position for us. Well, that's what it's there for. As well as have a good look at the parts that are in the pack, so you know what needs to be in there. So I've had a quick read through of the instructions, and it's more of a sort of guide on how to assemble it, so what you should use glue wise. It's not actual information on the correct order in which to assemble it. So again, we're basically just going to be going off the two pictures that we have. I think first of all the main thing to get on is going to be the water bag. Now the glue that I'm going to use is the Deluxe Materials Rocket Rapid Glue. It's a quick setting super glue. It will set in between 5 and 10 seconds, so it will hold it all together quite quickly. But first of all I'm going to do a quick dry run. Now obviously the bag will fit onto the column around there. It does have obviously this sprue on the end of it, but I'm actually just going to cut that off as close to the flange as possible, some small side cutters, and then just tidy the edge of that up so it's nice and flat, but also it's then got a rough surface for the glue to stick to, give it a bit of grip. It just means we're going to then be able to stick it all together quite easily. So that's that all cleaned up, and I'll just give that a quick going over with the file as well. Doesn't need a lot, just a little bit just to help hold it. And then obviously we'll be able to stick the bag onto the column, which is possibly going to be more awkward I think, but there we go, it will go on there. Now it is important to remember to do a dry run with these things before you start sticking it together, and then you don't want to end up in a panic where, oh, it doesn't all fit together, why doesn't it fit, and it all becomes a bit disappointing then. Now there is a bit of flexibility in the pipe, so there we go. That'll go on there quite nicely. I'm quite happy with how that's going to fit on there now. So let's get the glue out. Hopefully we'll be able to get, doesn't need a lot, just a little bit on either the column or on the water bag, and just bring it up, get it lined up as quick as you can, and just hold it in place for a few seconds. The glue says it bonds within 5 to 10 seconds. Try and give it a little bit longer so it's got a bit more of a chance, but once it is on there, it will be on there. So that is now on there, and I'm actually just going to put a tiny amount just at the bottom as well, just to give it an added bit of strength, just so that it's, you know, it's well on there. It's not going to be coming apart, because this model will be used in our display when we go to exhibitions, so we don't want it falling off ideally. So just for an extra bit of strength for a tiny blob of glue, that's already 100 times better. So let's have a look at the picture again. So we've got that on. The next piece is probably going to be to put the resin base at the front, so that will attach to there, hopefully without that all tipping over. So let's stick that on now, and again I'm just going to put a little bead of glue just on the bottom edge of a column there, and then line it all up and just bring the resin base to it. Hopefully it'll stick to it and not stick to the cutting mat. So I'm just applying a little bit of pressure just to hold it, and I'm also just moving it across the base, the cutting mat surface, just so it doesn't decide it wants to stick to that as well, because that would then be quite frustrating and annoying. But that is on there, and again I'll probably put some more glue on once we put the rest of it together, because it may well come off at some point when we do some of the other jobs that we need to do. So the next job is going to be to fit the chain. Now on the picture it's not very clear on the camera, but there's a bit of chain which goes from one side of the column right round the front of the bag to the other side, and on the actual column itself there is a lug on each side, just there where my fingers are, and that is where the chain needs to attach to. Now the chain is more than long enough, so what I'm going to do is glue the end on one side. I'm just going to put a blob of glue on the little lug, and just very carefully just drop the chain onto it, and then just let it set for a minute or so, so that we know it's on there. Now don't try and pick the column up with the chain, because it won't hold it. It's not going to be that strong. It is only there for sort of decoration, so we'll pick the column up rather than the chain, and all I'm going to do is I'm just going to very carefully just pull it around to the other side, and then put a little bit of glue on the lug on this side, and then pick the chain up, make sure it's a little bit tight but not overly tight, and again just drop the chain into the blob of glue, and hopefully it will hold it. It may well need some more glue, whilst it is actually there I think I will just try and get a little blob to dribble onto it. That will hopefully work its way in, because all I then need to do is cut the rest of the chain off. I can do that with the side cutters, and then we're ready to start assembling the rod on the back. So that seems to have gone tight on there, so I'm just going to go in with the little side cutters. the chain free. Now you might be able to use that excess chain in the goods yard or on a wagon or something of your choice. It's entirely up to you. It's there, and the chain, as we can see, is now stuck on the column. So the next job, as I said, is going to be to fit the wire actuator. And if you look at the picture again, you can see that the piece of wire that has come with the pack comes right from very near the top to the bottom of the top casting. There is actually a little pinhole there for it to go into. Comes right down, has a little sort of wiggly bend in it, and then goes down to that little handle at the bottom. So the idea will be to make up as much of the shape of the wire as possible, obviously before we try and stick it on, and you can probably only just about see the wire on the camera there, and it is just try and fit it each step of the way. So first of all we need to bend the very end of it over by about 90 degrees, so small pair of pliers, and just put a little bend in, and then pick the column up and you see where it's got to go, and just see how it fits in. You can probably then just hold it with a piece of, with your finger, and then you can mark out with the pliers where you need to bend it next, and just do take your time with it. There's no rush to get it done. Well, there shouldn't be. It should be an enjoyable thing to put together, and just slowly work the rod to where you want it. Again, just double check that we're bending in the right places, like there. We'll go around there somewhere. Yeah, that's looking quite good, and that then wants to go more or less straight back on itself. Now I've not quite got this as curvy as it is in the pictures, but for the sake of purpose of what this is actually doing, I don't really think it's going to matter too much. So I think that'll be reasonably fine on there, and yes, I think we can probably cut that in position now. It's going to be about there somewhere, so let's just drop it there. Obviously when you're cutting the wire, make sure you got hold of both ends of it, because you don't want one piece flying off and getting stuck in your eye or something like that. So now we've got our piece of wire, and now we're going to see where we need to put some glue on the casting. I can see where I need to now, so there's going to be obviously a bit up at the top, and there's going to be a bit down at this bottom lug down there. So let's put that in. Again, doesn't need a lot, just enough to hold it in place. When you can get hold of the piece of wire, should be a bit easier once you've bent it. He says. Always a way, once you've just glued something ready for it to go on, it then decides it doesn't want to go in. So that's on there, and then all that remains to go on is the tiny little handle, which I'm just going to do a quick dry run with, and that goes into the little square box at the bottom, and it will sit on there reasonably well. So let's put a final blob of glue over the hole. hopefully that should then be enough to hold that in place. He says as it comes away in his hand. So I'm just going to hold that through a little bit. And there we are, that's on there now. So hopefully you'll be able to see, or you might not be able to see really on the camera, is that we've now got the wire down the back, down to the little handle area, got the chain on. Basically we've assembled the column, and that is how it should go together. So there we go, that's how to put together the Midland region water column from Skytrex. It's a simple kit, it does go together quite quickly, very easily, the parts are made well, and you know, if you follow the picture diagram it makes it a lot easier so you can see what needs to be done. Well, as I said, I hope that you've enjoyed this video. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up and a like, and of course don't forget to hit the subscribe button as well. And so until next time, happy modelling.